Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing out there? We are so glad you're here with us today at the Temple of the Living God, St. Petersburg, Florida, just in case you didn't know where you were today. We would like to welcome all the people from social media all over the country that might be seeing this. We want you to know that we love you and we wish you were here. The weather's fabulous out there. Okay, we're going to start things off with a really cool song. Who did this? Do you know the name of the group, the duo? Devotion, I think is their name. They're local groups. Some of you might have heard of them. But anyway, it's called Resolve to Evolve.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I used to be so unhappy. Life seemed so unkind. I went to see my Maharishi. He was a janitor at the time. He said, "You're thinking like a one-cell-side goat. You're acting like a dinosaur. You won't find no peace of mind till you learn that life can be more. You can resolve to evolve. Get on the spiritual path. You can resolve to evolve. Give your brain a metaphysical bath. You can resolve to evolve. Leave your baggage behind. It may sound strange, but the world won't change till you rearrange your mind. Ego sits in the driver's seat with a death grip on the wheel. He's got the pedal to the metal. He does whatever he feels. Consciousness is riding shotgun, saying slow this vehicle down. It's time to check, time to select in which direction we're bound. You can resolve to evolve. Get on the spiritual path. You can resolve to evolve. Give your brain a metaphysical bath. You can resolve to evolve. Leave your mental baggage behind. It may sound strange, but the world won't change till you rearrange your mind. You can't fly if your I me mind keeps dragging you down. You won't grow if you just don't know why you keep spinning around and around and around and around, round, round, yeah. You can resolve to evolve. Get on the spiritual path. You can resolve to evolve. Give your brain a metaphysical bath. You can resolve to evolve. Leave your mental baggage behind. It may sound strange, but the world won't change till you rearrange your mind. You know it may sound strange, but the world won't change till you rearrange your mind.
Now, we already welcomed social media. Thank you for joining us today. Today we have Reverend Carmen Lusis speaking on the path we choose. I have chosen a lesson from A Course in Miracles to share. Please close your eyes if it's comfortable to take in these words. It's lesson 257. Let me remember what my purpose is. If I forget my goal, I can be but confused, unsure of what I am, and thus conflicted in my actions. No one can serve contradicting goals and serve them well. Nor can we function without deep distress and great depression. Let us therefore be determined to remember what we want today, that we may unify our thoughts, actions meaningfully, and achieve only what God would have us do this day. And now, Carol Mitchell and the Goodfellows.
The song is Try a Little Kindness. It works, let me tell you. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you see your brother standing by the road with a heavy load from the seeds he sowed, if you see your sister falling by the way, just stop and say, you're going the wrong way. You've got to try a little kindness and show a little kindness. Just shine your light for everyone to see. And if you try a little kindness, then you'll overlook the blindness of the narrow-minded people down the narrow-minded streets. Don't you walk around the down and out. Lend a helping hand instead of doubt. And the kindness that you show every day will help someone along the way. You've got to try a little kindness and show a little kindness. Just shine your light for everyone to see. And if you try a little kindness, then you'll overlook the blindness of the narrow-minded people down the narrow-minded street. You've got to try a little kindness, yeah, show a little kindness, shine your light for everyone to see. And if you try a little kindness, then you'll overlook the blindness of the narrow-minded people down the narrow-minded street. Be kind to each other.
Thank you so much. I happened to be at a Marshall store recently, and there was a young girl there of about age 6 or 7. And she was exuding such enthusiasm. She saw in the furniture part of the store a chair that swiveled. So in her excitement and her joy, she shared the words with her mother and anybody else that could hear. She said, "All my long life, I have been waiting to have such an experience on such a chair." So then she sat down on the chair and she began to swivel in all her delight and fulfillment. She appeared so confident with the vision that she had, that she made that a reality in her life, right? At such a young age, in the context of her, quote unquote, long life. A powerful young woman in the making, wouldn't you say? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Her path appears to have been chosen for her to be strong in her convictions and her resolve. And her mother was very supportive to allow her daughter to have the space to express herself. Pretty powerful. How we handle what's before us is what will make all the difference in our lives, and perhaps in other people's lives as well. Remember that every situation that we witness is happening for us and gives us an opportunity to either react impulsively or respond peacefully. And that determines the path we choose. We are often reminded to remember the importance of listening to our heart in order to be guided on the path that is for our highest and best good. There's a saying that states, and I quote, "Be bold enough to choose your own path and strong enough to follow it." End of quote. Did you know that the day that we were born and the day that we realize what our purpose in life is are two of the most important days of our life? We've all been placed here on this earth plane to discover what our path is and not to be playing out someone else's dream of what we're supposed to be. Perhaps some of you can relate to that. For those of you who were here last Sunday to experience the talent show, you witnessed a variety of unique gifts that were brought forth in unexpected ways that inspired our audience, that made people laugh, and even amazed people with some impressive acting and extraordinary singing. Thank you, Carol Mitchell, for putting the talent show together. Yes. We look forward to the next one. Sometimes the path that we walk in life leads us to unknown territory, right? But it's in that unknown territory where we, on occasion, find what we've been looking for, as it may have been for those of the people who said yes to participate in the talent show. You know, sometimes we say yes, and then we have to follow through and thinking, oh my gosh, what did I just do? But to give ourselves permission to shine and glow, it's a wonderful experience. So again, thank you for the opportunities to do that. And sometimes the path we choose may not always be an easy one, but it will give us opportunities to stretch and grow. Each one of us is responsible for the quality of life that we put into it. Don't you agree? Yes. Are we consciously walking our journey, though? Are we keeping ourselves on course? Are we believing in ourselves? We need to stay strong on our path as we continue to dream, believe, and achieve our goals. And we are invited to never give up on those dreams or goals that we have. And yes, it will involve discipline, strength, confidence, determination, and faith. With those intact, we can achieve anything that we set our mind to, even in these challenging times. To achieve our goals, we are reminded to be persistent at working hard. And as a result of that, good things happen. We are invited to stay calm and thoughtful in all that we do. Even practicing silence as we move forward in our work, going about all that we do with wonder and reverence, reveals a consciousness of living mindfully. Remembering also that we are but instruments for God, for Source, for love, to work and to shine through. We are also invited to be kind, as we just heard in the song. And that speaks volumes to others, doesn't it? Yeah. I'm reminded of the story of a 10-year-old little boy who was standing before a shoe store by the roadway, and he was barefoot and shivered in the cold. And a lady approached him and said to the little boy, "My little fellow, why are you so earnestly looking in the window?" And the boy replied, "I was asking God to give me a pair of shoes." So the lady took him by the hand, and they went into the store, and she asked the clerk to get a half a dozen pair of socks for the boy. Then she asked if he could provide her with a basin of water and a towel, which he quickly got for her. So she took the little boy to the back of the store, removed her gloves, kneeled down, washed his little feet, and then dried them with a towel. And by this time, the clerk had returned with the socks. She placed a pair of socks on his feet, after which she went ahead and bought a pair of shoes for him. Then she patted the little boy on the head. She gently smiled and said, "No doubt, my little fellow, you feel more comfortable now?" And as she turned to go, the astonished little boy caught her by the hand, looked her in the face with tears in his eyes, and then he answered the question with these words, "Are you God's wife?" When all is said and done, we are invited to keep smiling. Why? Because every smile that we encounter changes the energy around us for the better. Remember the saying from Ralph Waldo Emerson, who said, and I quote, "Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." Unquote. Are we knowing within what ignites our passion? Are we knowing what brings us joy? When we do, we don't have to worry about finding the right path. When we're in our joy, when we embrace that which supports our joy, we will be brought to a place of following our heart's guidance. There's a beautiful quote that says, "God's grace is not the light at the end of the tunnel. It is the light that guides us through it." End of quote. Each of us has been given this life to love, to honor, to respect, to celebrate, to live life to the fullest, to do the right thing, to be honest, and to follow our heart. And we can all strive to reach these goals, can't we? And I'm sure that all of us can think of people in our lives that embrace these qualities. As the Kabbalah teaches us, as A Course in Miracles teaches, as many other wisdoms teachings show us, to be love, to be the expression of love, to see the reflection of love in one another as each other, gives us a clearer understanding of our connection with one another on our path, individually and collectively, bringing us into a higher state of conscious awareness. And just as we heard the song earlier, when we resolve to evolve and get on the spiritual path, our world will change. Our perspective will change as we rearrange our mind or our thinking. And only in looking back at our lives can we fully understand why everything happened the way that it did for us to be where we are right now. We know that all of those ideas and insights that come to mind for each of us that show up on our path, as well as those insights that we feel within our being, they're whisperings and sometimes urgings for our soul to move forward with them, aren't they? Yeah. And no matter what path we choose in life, when we choose the path of love, it's inevitable that we will evolve spiritually. Yes. And we can ask ourselves, are the choices that we're making on our path bringing us peace? Or is there struggle and conflict? Which of those do you prefer? On one of my road trips, when I traveled to North Carolina, to the mountains, I visited some friends there. And several times I appeared to be misdirected in how I had to find my destination. Yet I chose to stay in my peace and my gratitude as I enjoyed being aware and being in awe of just nature's beauty everywhere, experiencing the breathtaking excursions to places I had never dreamed of. Eventually, I reached my destination, but what an exciting adventure I was privileged to have. And perhaps all of us need to venture out in life from time to time and see what is around the corner, around the bend, over the hill, across the waters. And perhaps we're all being invited to say yes to life anew, to the life that continues to beckon us forward, despite outer appearances that may not always be so comfortable. And every courageous act that we embrace is but an opportunity to inspire others to do the same, possibly even to experience the oneness, the unity, the connection that we all share with one another. And once we have stepped into the awareness of Spirit working in our lives again, we realize that this journey that we take really has no end. And perhaps this is like a metaphor that we have with our lifetime kinship or connection with truth, with love, with God. like an ancient friend that we can share our entire life with. That friend is always there, even if we walk off the path, only to return. Sometimes conditions change in our life that force us to make adjustments that may not always be comfortable. When there is no longer an energetic match with someone or situations, there is often a shift in the direction of our path, isn't there? Often, in those moments, we are led back to Spirit, to God, to that ancient friend that is always there as a source of comfort. So, and here, we take in fresh, new breaths, which will always restore us to the present moment. And we remain open and willing to see with new eyes of the inspired possibilities that are waiting for us. And every path that we choose gives us the opportunity to learn and progress forward. There's another quote that says, "It's not what we have in life, but how we are living our life that matters." End of quote. The path that each one of us has chosen, I believe, is so very unique and indescribably perfect for each of us, if we but realize the blessings all around us, at all times, throughout all ages. And each of us is evolving according to our soul's pattern. Sometimes it's comforting to hear that God, that universal life force, is everywhere present, has called in all those people and experiences in our lives to ultimately bless us on our journey, for however long that may be. We can stand tall and proud, knowing that we are successors of those who have walked before us. We can hold our heads up high and let our light shine as we continue to carry on life's eternal message of love, of kindness, of truth, of peace, of compassion on the path that we choose. Charlie Chapman once wrote, and I quote, "You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this world a wonderful adventure." End of quote. And just as the young girl at Marshall's knew what she wanted, she embraced her experience with a wonderful sense of intention, determination, and joy. And it's up to each of us to appreciate one another and to recognize that we are all part of this one universal family, this one spiritual family, in which we are all connected as spiritual brothers and sisters on our chosen and our collective path. And so it is. Namaste. And so now we're going to move into our times of tithing and offering, and we invite you to take your tithes and gifts in your hands and bless them. And I would ask for the ushers to come forth at this time. Let us pray. Infinite radiant source of all life, we give thanks for the abundance within our lives, and we give thanks for the opportunity to be able to share with open and loving hearts. And we acknowledge that divine love moving in and through each and every one of us blesses and multiplies all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. And I would like to call Reverend Zemke forth now as we will be taking up our second offering.
As has been announced earlier in the month, and as many of you who have been regular in attendance and some who may be coming more recently, our nation and our world is engaged in a conflict in a part of the world that probably most of us have never been to. There is an organization called the World Central Kitchen, which is a not-for-profit, non-governmental organization devoted to providing meals in the wake of natural disasters. And who would not agree that there is a disaster going on in Ukraine? This organization was founded in 2010 by celebrity chef Jose Andres. The organization prepared food in Haiti following its devastating earthquake at the time. Its method of operations is to be a first responder and then to collaborate and galvanize solutions with local chefs to solve the problems of hunger immediately following a disaster. If you follow the news, you know that there are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, literally now millions, that are leaving their native country, many of them gathering in Poland and elsewhere. Today, we are going to take up, after this offering, a second offering to support World Central Kitchen. Many members and friends of the church has asked us, is there something we can do? Is there some way we can be supportive? Yes, there is. So we will take up that offering immediately. You can make out your check if you're going to give a check to the temple, and then that will be converted to the appropriate title for the World Central Kitchen. If you want to offer cash, that's fine. If you don't have either today, we will still be collecting throughout the week, the first week of this next month, because obviously this is going to be going on. So bring your gift when and as you are ready to do that. And we do want to thank all of you in advance for your willingness to be supportive of our brothers and sisters who are part of our larger spiritual family wherever they are on the earth. Thank you. Thank you.
Would the ushers come forth, please? Thank you.
Just a minute.
And now we will conclude the service with our final song, with Carol and the Goodfellows.
Yes. And the song goes out to everyone in Ukraine and everyone anywhere where there's conflict. It's called the Peace Song, or Let It Be Peace on Earth. Now there is peace on earth. I know it begins with me. Now there is peace on earth,
the peace that is meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me, and this is the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take